Back in this area, the first time he stood up and asked a question. And I could hear the conflict and the frustration in the sense that here he was in this amazing career that probably a whole lot of people would say, I'll take it. But he was unfulfilled. And all Bruce really needed, aside from someone to do his taxes for him, was really permission to say, okay, it's okay that maybe what I've been doing the last 20 years isn't what I need to do for the next 20 years. And he shifted and he opened his mind and he said, what's going to be meaningful for me for the next 20 years? My son, he just turned 23. He'll finish college next year. Started his own business at 16 years old and still building the business. Now, I believe in traditional education. And that's why he's still in school. And there was a time that and he did it, technology is a wondrous thing because it insulates us from the real dynamic. There was a time where I was literally down in San Diego. Actually, I was down in San Diego. Jenny was with me at the time. And I get this text from my son that says, so Dad, I've been thinking. Now, your teenage son, when they say I've been thinking, because I usually don't at that age, he says, my business is growing, it's doing well. I just don't see where this college thing is really helping me any. So I'm thinking of stopping. And he did it in a text. So Jenny had to talk me off the ceiling. And I sent him a text back saying, we'll talk when I get home. And just left it alone. Needless to say, he's still in college. He's just finishing up next year. But the point is that we had a conversation long ago about this very thing. Design and create your life. Create a life by design. And create a career or a business, however you want to do it, that supports that. And many times we don't step back. During the next 3 days, I'm going to ask you to reflect on some things. I'm going to ask you some questions. How many already leafed through the 11 by 17 sheets on the table? Because then I know who the creators are, and okay. So there's going to be things for you to fill out. There's going to be some things that you're going to consider. Some of it you might have the answers right off the top of your head because they've been percolating for a while. Others you might say, I need to think about this some more. But what's in those sheets are the questions we ought to be asking ourselves on a regular basis. How did I get into this entrepreneur space? Originally I thought, as Bruce said, I'm traditionally trained. I'm educated as a CPA, but I'm an entrepreneur by exhilaration. I enjoyed the run, but I thought it was when I left one of the big accounting firms, and as I really reflected on it, I started my entrepreneurial journey 40 years ago. 40 years ago, I watched a movie with Tony Curtis and Janet Leigh. Houdini. That started at that time, my love for magic. And I literally wanted to learn everything that I could about magic. And there was a magic shop literally 10, 12 miles away from my house. And during the summer vacation, I would walk 2 blocks to the RTD bus stop, and I'd take the bus all the way to the road they were on, walk another 3 blocks to the magic shop, and I would spend 6 hours a day in that magic shop. And then I decided, okay, I'm going to go out and try to make money doing this at 11, 12 years old. So, and I just recently found my business card, my old business card from back then, and I started doing magic shows for $50. Well, it depended how long I was going to be at the show. So it was either $50 to $100. Now, we're talking 40 years ago. That wasn't bad for a 12-year-old kid. But I was doing magic shows as Mr. Mystical the Clown. Now, birthday shows for kids as a clown, and I still have the clown outfit, which was made by my mother at the time. Doesn't fit me anymore. But the cool thing was that the parents really loved the clown magic shows, the animal balloons and all that. What didn't take long for me to realize is the kids are scared to death of clowns. It's like you walk in and the kids are freaking out and the parents go, they're so cute. You know, so, but that was my first entree into entrepreneurship, and I didn't think about it at that point. But the things that I did then to promote myself are the same things that I did to promote in my career as a professional valuation and a consultant and strategist. The same principles, the same disciplines, the same things that I used in sports and the martial arts and all of that, they all started back then and carried here. The idea of these 3 days is for you to maybe take a little bit away from my experience, my life, my background of what I did so you can learn from them. Take what fits and try it on. You can always go home on Monday and say, it was all right for the weekend, but I'm not going to consider that. But there may be other things that you say, I like that. When it comes down to what we're dealing with this weekend, it's really about possibility. And possibility for me is about being able to create a life by design and begin living it today and have my business or my career support that each and every day. That's to me what possibility is. Because each of us are going to have different currencies. We're going to see that we're going to go through an exercise, and at some point, we're going to say, what's the number you're looking for as far as financial number? And at some point, you might say, one might say it's 5 million, one might say it's 10 million, someone might say it's 100 million or a billion. Some might say, you know what, I'm really not, I'm already financially secure. I don't need the money right now. But I wanted to have something else, something of impact, and I want to leave a legacy. See, each of our currencies are different. The key here in entrepreneurship is to understand that as an entrepreneur, we have a responsibility. Whatever it is going on in society, whatever your political views are, don't matter to me. The fact of the matter is that the only thing that's ever changed this nation is the innovative thinking of entrepreneurs, I believe. That and Mother Nature. Really is, yeah, here. And there's 40 of you in this room that are doing that are going to continue to do that. It's not the politicians in Washington. They're not going to get anything done for us. It's up to us. It's up to us to go out there and say, look, I see something greater, and I have the ability to do something about it. And maybe that ability to do something about it is in the small local community for now, but it can grow much greater, much bigger. I want you to expand your vision of what's possible in your life. I invite you to do that. Even if it's only for these 3 days, and I suggest that once you get through the 3 days, you'll sit back and say, no, I think I'm going to keep this with me. That expanded vision, that expanded dream of what's possible in your life. If you sat back and said, if I was to choose and really design my life the way I want it to be and start living it today, how many really know what it would look like? There's a problem that we only have a couple of hands going up in the room. We're going to solve that this weekend. Because what I'd love for you to do, and the only reason I'm saying it is because I know what it's like for me to have lived this life. I feel totally blessed, like I said. But I've had a whole lot of skips and falls and things that have happened to me. I've wiped out 1/3 of my net worth in one bad decision, which we'll talk about. I also rebuilt it to 300% of where it was by using some of the things that we'll talk about. But the first thing is that you have a choice, and that choice is to live bigger. That choice is to say, there's things in our disposal that have the ability to allow us to live bigger, because possibility exists around every corner. I look at it and say, you know what? The Constitution says there's certain inalienable rights. Possibility is one of them. We certainly are at a crossroads, but we get to choose which road we want to take. Question that we ought to be asking ourselves is not whether the life exists after death, whether we actually live before death. That's really what it's about. I want you all to no matter how many days, months, years, a lifetime you have left on this earth, to know that you lived them to your fullest, and that you did it by choice. You did it now, and you left a legacy that you defined, not someone else.